The Call of the Weaving. Once upon a time, in the sunlit village of Olakan, the vibrant colors of communal life danced in harmony beneath the expansive sky. Amara, a young woman with dreams woven from the threads of ancestral legends, often found solace within the confines of her family's weaving atelier. This sanctuary, fragrant with the scent of dyed fabrics and the soft hum of creativity, was where her heart truly thrived. On this particular day, the golden rays filtered through the open windows, casting intricate shadows across the woven masterpieces that adorned the walls. Each tapestry told not just a story, but a legacy of courage, resilience, and the formidable women who shaped their destinies in the face of adversity. Amara ran her fingers over the fibers as she reflected on the tales her grandmother, Zara, had shared. "Every woman has a strength, Amara," Zara would say, her wise voice laden with warmth. "It may not always be visible to the eye, but it resides deep within one's heart." As the sun dipped towards the horizon, Amara decided to explore the attic where Zara stored her older tapestries, hoping to find inspiration. She climbed the creaking wooden stairs and pushed open the heavy door, discovering a treasure trove of forgotten stories. Dust motes swirled in the air as she uncovered an intricately woven piece. A portrait of a woman, fierce yet graceful, wielding not only a spear but also a smile that radiated hope. Mesmerized, Amara felt an electric charge of energy surge through her body. This woman, with her strong stance and determined gaze, was not just an art piece draped in faded colors. She was a beacon of empowerment, a reminder of the wisdom and strength of their ancestors. Amara picked up the tapestry, allowing the strands to slip through her fingers as she examined the stitches, each one meticulously crafted, echoing the stories of long ago. "What secrets do you hold?" she whispered to the tapestry. Suddenly, a rustle from behind her startled her. She turned to find her grandmother standing at the door, her silver-streaked hair catching the last rays of sunlight. Zara's eyes twinkled as she took in the sight of Amara holding the tapestry. "Ah, you found my favorite," Zara said, her voice a blend of nostalgia and pride. "That is Yara, a warrior in her own right. Tell me more about her, Grandma. What made her so brave?" Amara urged, her heart pounding with admiration. Zara settled beside her, drawing a deep breath. Yara fought not with brute strength, but with her heart and mind. She understood that true courage lies in finding the strength to uplift others, to unite a community. Like you, she believed in the power of storytelling. Amara listened intently, captivated by the tales of her lineage. With every word, her determination intensified. If Yara could fight for her people through unity, surely Amara could too. But how could she? The warriors of Olakan were paramount, and she was merely a weaver. "I wish to be like Yara," Amara confessed, her gaze drifting to the tapestry. "To show everyone that strength is not just about fighting." Zara nodded thoughtfully. "Strength, my dear, can take many forms. It may come from words, art, or the willingness to speak your truth. Trust in your abilities, and don't be afraid to weave your own destiny." Inspired, Amara felt the vibrant colors around her shift and pulse, urging her forward. She could sense the villagers were in need. They had been distraught after experiencing the recent attacks from a dark sorcerer who defied their every attempt to restore peace. The warriors had fallen before his terrible magic, bringing shame and fear upon the kingdom. "I can use my art to help," Amara declared firmly as she placed the tapestry back down. "But I need to find a way to unite everyone. I want to inspire them to stand together, as they should." Zara's eyes softened, brimming with pride. "Then let your heart be the thread that connects them. Begin first by sharing your gifts with the community. Unleash your creativity, and perhaps they will see courage in a different light." With her grandmother's encouragement echoing in her heart, Amara descended the stairs, the flickering candlelight illuminating her path. Every step felt imbued with purpose, and an idea began to form, a way to reignite solidarity among her people. As she reached the village square, the lively chatter of her fellow villagers greeted her. Children played, laughter echoed, and the aroma of simmering stews wafted through the air. The atmosphere felt so vibrant, yet she sensed the undercurrents of anxiety lingering just beneath the surface. Amara stood before the gathering crowd, her heart racing with anticipation. The villagers fell silent, their curious eyes turning towards her. She took a deep breath, feeling the presence of her ancestors wrapping around her like a protective cloak. I have a vision, she began, her voice steady yet fervent. We stand at a crossroad. Our warriors have fallen. Yet, I believe it is time we come together, not only as warriors but as a community. Let us weave our stories, strength, resilience, and unity. Let us define who we are, not by our battles, but by our bonds. The villagers shifted, some murmured, while others looked skeptical. Even in the face of doubt, Amara stood tall, recalling Yara's fierce spirit. The warmth of creativity burned within her, urging her to stand firm in her purpose. If the tapestry of Olokan must be rewoven, then it would start with her. And with every thread, come what may, she would create a new narrative, one of unity, love, and the courage to rise against darkness together. And in that moment, with the setting sun casting its golden hue upon her, Amara felt only the promise of what was to come. Shadows of failure. Ezekiel stood at the village edge, the air thick with the scent of wild grass and impending rain. His once stalwart figure, a symbol of bravery, now seemed to meld into the earth beneath him. He gazed out at the rolling savanna, where the sun hung low, casting long shadows, mirroring the dark feelings swirling within him. Just days ago, he had returned with fellow warriors, their spirits shattered, having faced the sorcerer's terrifying magic. Their surrender felt like the ultimate betrayal, not only to themselves but to the entire village that revered them. My biggest fear wasn't death, Ezekiel murmured to himself, but failing those who depended on me. The weight of disappointment pressed down on his chest, heavy and unyielding. He'd always been celebrated as Olokan's finest warrior, a protector of the people. What use was strength when it could neither guard against evil nor restore hope? The echoes of the warrior's laughter, once a comforting sound, now felt like daggers digging in deeper with each memory. They had marched bravely into battle, swords held high, determination sparkling in their eyes. Yet, they returned defeated. Each warrior had brought a different tale of their failure, but all stories ended in the same anguished realization: they could not vanquish the sorcerer. Ezekiel. A familiar voice jolted him from his thoughts. It was Jalen, his closest friend and fellow warrior. With tousled hair and a weary face, Jalen approached, his once proud armor tarnished and scratched. Have you heard the latest? Some villagers are saying we should consider surrendering. Maybe the sorcerer will show mercy. A cold chill ran down Ezekiel's spine. The idea of surrender gnawed at him, twisting his insides. Surrender? Is that what we're teaching them? That fear should dictate our actions. Anger flared briefly, then subsided as despair washed over him once more. We can't fight a darkness like his, Ezekiel. Maybe they're right, Jalen lamented, his voice lacking hope. We were brave, but bravery didn't save us. What if we treated the sorcerer's demands seriously? Perhaps we'd spare lives. How did it come to this? Ezekiel lamented, struggling to keep his voice steady. We are warriors, defenders of the people. We cannot let fear win. There must be another way. Maybe there is, Jalen whispered. But we need a new strategy. We can't do it like we always have. He looked around, the corner of his mouth twitching in what might have been a smile, but fading quickly. Ezekiel could only nod, acceptance mingling with confusion. As dusk fell, Ezekiel watched the villagers gather in small clusters, their voices soft, hesitant, as if sharing secrets. He saw mothers wrapping their arms around their children, fear knitting with the fabric of comfort, and men who had once lifted their heads in pride now wore the weight of despair. The village spirits were dimmed, and something deep within him stirred, a longing to reignite the fire of courage that once burned brightly in Olokan. The following day brought a sense of change. Amara's vibrant spirit had always radiated through the village, shining brighter with every thread she wove. Ezekiel noticed her taking center stage in the square, speaking passionately about unity and strength, though the villagers hesitated. Intrigued, he watched her lean into the crowd, her hands moving animatedly as she spoke of togetherness. What if we unite our stories? What if we transform our fear into our strength? Her voice ascended above the murmurs. The sorcerer may have power, but we have community. We have art. Together, our stories can illuminate the path forward. Ezekiel felt a flicker of hope at her words. He wondered if Amara had the answer they all needed, the spark that could light the way through this darkness. But even he doubted his ability to stand against the sorcerer. He waved aside the thought, dismissing its cheeky persistence. As the day wore on, he saw Amara approach and stand discreetly near him. Her eyes, filled with determination, met his. "You're not giving up, are you?" she asked, her voice dropping to a gentle whisper. Ezekiel inhaled sharply, torn between optimism and the remnants of his despair. "Amara, I'm not giving up because I want to. I'm giving up because I don't think we can win. Victory isn't just about fighting. It's about what we can create together," Amara insisted, her tone unwavering. "You can't lose hope. The warriors need to believe they can still protect their home. The villagers need to see that strength can come in many forms." He reflected on her words, the flicker of possibility rekindling. Perhaps they could forge a new path. What if he harnessed the artistic strength of the community, the heart of their stories, to unite them against the sorcerer? "Maybe you're right," he finally said, the weight of despair beginning to lift ever so slightly. "Perhaps we can weave a plan. But what about you? You're only a weaver, Amara. You can't fight the sorcerer yourself." "I don't need swords to fight. I have my voice, my threads, and the power of our stories." Her infectious energy breathed new hope into him, a fragile flame flickering in the depth of his chest. Ezekiel returned to the village square, surrounded by fellow warriors who had stood at the forefront of their community's bravery. The whispers of uncertainty began circulating again, but he found the courage to speak. "We have faltered, yes, but we have also learned. It is time to embrace a new way. If we stand together, warriors, artisans, and villagers, we might forge a different destiny. We need to learn from Amara's vision. It won't be an easy path, but it can be ours, and we will do it together." The murmurs shifted in the crowd. For the first time, he saw glimmers of acknowledgement, sparks of determination igniting in the eyes of those who had ever wielded a sword. Perhaps there was still a chance to emerge from the shadows of failure, weaving a new fabric of courage from the threads of their pasts. In that moment, a deep sense of purpose surged within Ezekiel, a guiding light in the encroaching darkness. Together, they could craft a brave new narrative, or at the very least, inspire a fight worth having. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue bringing more content your way. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the story. Threads of Unity. The village of Olakan stirred with an invigorating energy as the sun stretched its earliest rays across the horizon. Colors burst forth as children played in the square while craftsmen set up their stalls, mingling laughter with the cacophony of barter and chatter. Amara stood at the heart of it all, a palpable excitement humming in her chest. Today was a pivotal day. Today, she would share her vision of unity with the villagers. Gathering her courage, Amara began preparing her workspace, laying out colorful strands of fabric that had been dyed with vibrant natural colors. The weavings of many hues represented the rich tapestry of their culture, each color symbolizing stories of past heroes, families reunited, and friendships forged through trials. With patience and care, she set up her loom, each movement both deliberate and hopeful. Ezekiel approached, determination etched on his face. The conversations from the previous evening lingered in his mind like a spark waiting for kindling. "Amara," he said, "I think the warriors are willing to listen, but you must have a strong message." She nodded, understanding the importance of what lay ahead. "I believe we can create something that no sorcerer can break. A tapestry that embodies our unity and hope. It will remind everyone that we are stronger together than apart." Her eyes shone with conviction. As villagers gathered, curiosity piqued. Eager faces began to form a semicircle around Amara's loom. With Ezekiel by her side, she could feel the support of the warriors, a silent promise to fight for the village's future. Amara cleared her throat, her voice steady as she breathed in the energy of the crowd. "Thank you for coming. I know times have been difficult. Fear can cloud our judgment, pulling us apart when we should stand united. I want to create a tapestry that reflects our shared stories, our strength, and our resilience." She paused, scanning the faces before her. Some wore skepticism, while others flickered with interest. The painful memories of their recent failures hung heavy, yet there was something powerful in the air, a nascent spirit yearning for change. Together, we can weave a symbol of hope. I invite each of you to contribute a thread, a story that represents your strength or a powerful moment. When we combine our experiences, we will create something that no enemy can unravel. With her words, Amara began her work, threading brightly colored strands through the loom, forming an intricate design inspired by the village itself. A phoenix rising from the ashes, an emblem of rebirth. The act of weaving transformed the atmosphere, the sights, sounds, and energy all swirling together, fueled by a collective desire for unity. Ezekiel stepped forward, buoyed by Amara's passion. Let this be the first thread of our new journey. I will contribute my story too. A murmur rippled through the crowd, curiosity piquing as they began to realize the potential of Amara's project. The warriors stepped forward, encouraged by his bravery. One by one, they began sharing tales of valor and vulnerability, their defeats and doubts, woven together into a fabric of humanity. As the stories poured forth, Amara listened intently, her fingers working expertly through the loom while she absorbed every word. From a mother's tale of a night spent protecting her children to a child's joyous battle against fear, each thread captured the essence of Olakan. As they shared, shadows of doubt lifted, replaced by the glimmers of hope that danced within their hearts. The crowd began to swell as more villagers arrived, drawn by the energy of transformation. Amara and Ezekiel continued to weave a growing narrative of connection. Each thread resonated through the loom and into the hearts of the participants. It was as if the very air hummed with the collective energy of shared experiences, pain that had become promise. Hours passed, and the tapestry grew vivid with the stories woven into it. Villagers laughed as they recounted moments of childhood camaraderie and told tales of triumphs, their collective spirit restoring the village's identity. The tapestry became more than just colors and materials. It transformed into a living testament, a shared dream of resilience and togetherness. With each thread added, Amara marveled at how easily the stories intertwined. The intricate weave reflected the unique beauty of each contributor while establishing a greater narrative, one that united the heartbeats of the village into a singular rhythm. Look at what we've created together. Amara gestured proudly. The tapestry now displayed a vibrant phoenix, its colors bold and bright, surrounded by radiant threads representing memories of love and strength. This represents our spirit, a spirit that cannot be undone. As the day faded into twilight, a palpable resolve took hold. The villagers stood shoulder to shoulder, eyes gleaming with renewed strength as they admired their creation. Many felt the cool breeze of determination flow through them, weaving around their hearts and refusing to let despair prevail. An elder stepped forward, his weathered hands trembling with emotion as he recounted his lifelong battles for the village. What you have done here today, dear ones, is more than we fabric. You have woven hope into our being. Let this be our call to action, a reminder to embrace the light in one another. Cheers erupted, echoing through the village. Amara beamed, her heart swelling with pride as the villagers celebrated not just the tapestry but the unity they had found in sharing their truths. As laughter rang around them, they began to realize that they were stronger together than they had ever been alone. Night fell, and stars twinkled like distant beacons of hope above them. Amara looked up, inspired by the tableau of glowing lights. The tapestry, a triumphant testament to courage, wrapped them all in warmth. It would be a reminder of who they were and could be, a foundation for the battles ahead. As Ezekiel stood beside her, a smile broke across his face, reflecting the hope they had ignited together. "This is just the beginning," he said softly. "We will fight for our village, and there's no thread we cannot weave into our tapestry of strength." With hearts entwined and threads woven, the villagers of Olakan stood ready to face their fate, united in purpose, driven by the stories that bound them together. In the face of darkness, they had found their light, and they were determined to let it shine. The sorcerer's pursuit. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the Olakan sky in hues of orange and rose as Amara and the villagers stood in the village square. The tapestry that embodied their collective spirit glimmered in the sunset, a radiant symbol of unity born from shared stories and strength. Yet, as the colors danced across the sky, an unsettling presence loomed, a dark reminder that the sorcerer was still out there. As night enveloped the village, Ezekiel gathered the warriors around a flickering fire, their faces etched with determination and a hint of fear. Amara had woven a spirit of hope, but the sorcerer's shadow was a persistent weight that threatened to extinguish it. "Tonight, we must be vigilant," Ezekiel said, his voice steady but resonating with urgency. "We have stirred something powerful by uniting, and the sorcerer will not take kindly to our resolve. We need to prepare ourselves for his return." A murmur rolled through the group. The thought was neither new nor comforting. The warriors were haunted by memories of their previous failed encounter. Seeing the flickers of doubt in their eyes, Ezekiel vowed to ease their fears. "We will stand together, shoulder to shoulder. Strength lies in our unity. This time, we will not fight him alone." As the fire crackled, plans took shape. They would bolster the village's defenses and ensure that every villager understood the sorcerer was not an unstoppable force. The tapestry created by Amara was their light, a reminder that courage could shine brightly against the darkness. Meanwhile, deep in the shadows, the sorcerer watched with malicious intent. He stood cloaked in darkness, his piercing silver eyes glinting like daggers. The gathering of strength in Olakan had not escaped his notice. He could taste the fear that accompanied hope. His dark magic rippled beneath the surface, ready to unleash chaos upon those who dared to defy him. "Fools," he hissed, addressing a group of his minions lurking nearby like vultures hungry for scraps. "They believe their unity will protect them? I will extinguish their hope with a mere whisper of my power. We will crush them underfoot." The minions slithered at his side, their forms shifting and distorting as they awaited the command of their master. Their loyalty was built on darkness, just as the sorcerer's own heart had turned to stone. As Amara settled into her workspace later that night, she felt the pulse of the village beneath her fingertips. The threads of the tapestry vibrated with life, and she poured her energy into the weaving. She could sense it, a magical current thrumming through her work, as if the spirits of her ancestors were guiding her hands. "We must not falter," she whispered, focusing her intent. "We weave more than mere fabric. We weave our truth, our connection to each other and to every generation before us." With dawn approaching, the village prepared for the sorcerer's inevitable response. Amara led a group of villagers to create more tapestries, each crafted with vibrant symbols of hope and resilience. These would adorn the village, a reminder of their strength. Ezekiel sharpened his sword, feeling the weight of his responsibilities. Beside him, Jalen practiced his skills, a look of determination replacing doubt. "We have the tapestry, and we have our stories. They're our weapons now," he remarked, glancing at Ezekiel. "Stories can hold more power than swords," Ezekiel agreed, recalling Amara's vision during the tapestry's creation. "But we need to be ready for the sorcerer. He will come, and when he does, we must be prepared." As the first light of dawn poured over the land, an eerie stillness settled in. The village came alive with the sounds of preparation, yet a lingering anxiety hung thick in the air. Then it happened. A cold wind swept across Olakan, carrying with it a feeling of dread that sent shivers down spines. The villagers stopped, frozen in place as an omen washed over them. And from the shadows emerged the sorcerer. He stepped forward from the darkened tree line, draped in shadows that seemed to cling to him like a second skin. "So, you dare to unite against me," he proclaimed, his voice a chilling caress that resonated in the hearts of the gathered. "Your stories are nothing but hollow echoes of despair. I will unravel your threads and watch as your village crumbles before me." A hush fell over the villagers, fear freezing many of them in place. But Amara, fueled by the strength of their collective spirit, stepped forward, her chin held high. "You may think yourselves a tempest, but we are a force united. Our stories, our courage, and our hopes. These are the threads that bind us, and you will not sever them." The sorcerer's laugh resonated through the stillness, harsh and mocking. Brave words from a mere weaver. But what is a tapestry when faced with the storm of darkness? As he raised his arms, shadows surged forth, twisting and writhing, forming tendrils of darkness that sought to engulf the village. Ezekiel shouted for the warriors to rally, and with pride, he held his sword aloft. "We stand together. We will not be overcome." With the pulse of their collective will resonating deep within, the villagers lined up side by side, warriors and artisans alike. They formed a wall of unwavering resolve, bolstered by Amara's tapestry, vibrant and alive. As the shadows drew closer, Amara closed her eyes, focusing on the energy within her tapestry. The energy of connection and community. "We are the light for each other," she cried, her voice ringing with purpose. In that moment, a beam of brilliance erupted from the tapestry, illuminating the advancing darkness. With strength defying all odds, the villagers pushed back against the tendrils of shadow, wielding their stories like shields against despair. Amara and Ezekiel, side by side, called upon the light woven into their shared history. As hope surged through their veins, they realized that together, they could withstand the sorcerer's assault. And so began the battle, not merely of strength against darkness, but of hope against despair, each thread, each story forming an unbreakable bond that glimmered with resilience. Embracing the light. The sorcerer's chilling laughter echoed through the air as shadows surged like a storm over the village of Olakan. Amara could feel the darkness encroaching, almost breathing, a living entity that sought to smother the light. But as her heart raced, she also felt something deeper, the strength of the woven tapestry that represented the collective spirit of her people, now a living entity of hope and unity. Together. Ezekiel roared, his voice piercing through the chaos. The warriors, previously gripped by fear, now looked at him with a glimmer of resolve. They had felt the flicker of hope that Amara's tapestry had ignited, and they were no longer just soldiers, they were a community standing for one another. As shadowy tendrils reached out, fanged and wrapped in darkness, Amara stepped closer to her creation, the tapestry pulsating with color and energy. The vibrant threads shimmered like stars in the obsidian sky, calling upon the strength of every story woven within. "Let our light shine brighter than their darkness," she shouted, feeling the power of her ancestors guide her. With those words, Amara reached toward the tapestry, brushing her fingers across the strands as if to summon the essence of every villager that had contributed their hopes and fears. "We are not just defenders, we are keepers of our stories. Let the light of our truth illuminate the shadows." The villagers, emboldened by Amara's conviction, began to chant the names of their ancestors, weaving their narratives into a collective spirit that resonated through the very fabric of the village. "For Yara, for Zara, for Olakan." Their voices swelled, mingling with the energy that surged from the tapestry. As they cried out, the shadows hesitated, recoiling as if burned by the very fabric of communal spirit. Ezekiel, feeling the link between the villagers and the tapestry, raised his sword high, its blade glimmering with the essence of hope. "We will not back down. United by our stories, we stand strong." With each warrior echoing Ezekiel's cry, a wave of defiance surged through the crowd. They charged forward, arms linked, emboldened by the illuminating presence of their shared courage. The warriors and villagers didn't just fight against the sorcerer, they embraced the power of all they stood for, pushing back against the encroaching darkness with a fervor that seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. The sorcerer's eyes blazed with frustration as the threads of his shadowy tendrils splintered before the onslaught of light. Anger flickered across his features, but there was also an unsettling curiosity in the way he observed the power kindled among the villagers. "Fools," he yelled, his voice carrying the weight of his dark magic. "You cannot sustain this fight. I am eternal. You are merely fleeting." Yet, with every vile word he uttered, Amara only felt the resilience within her grow stronger. "And yet, you underestimate the very essence of what it means to be connected. Our stories, our unity, it is eternally woven into who we are." In that heartbeat, the energy of the tapestry surged into the air, spiraling outward in a dazzling arc. The colors burst forth from their woven prison, shimmering like a rainbow of light. The very essence of Amara's creativity transformed into a brilliant shield of hope that enveloped her and the villagers, shining against the dark. The villagers pressed on, emboldened by the beacon of their community stories. Stories of bravery, love, sacrifice, and joy swirled around them like fireflies, illuminating their path. They understood now that the sorcerer's greatest weapon was division, feeding on their fears and doubts. But they would not be divided, not today. The sorcerer raised his hands, preparing to cast a powerful spell, but the radiant light from the tapestry encircled him, deflecting the darkness he sought to unleash. The tendrils recoiled as villagers advanced, their spirits intertwined like the very fibers of the tapestry. Ezekiel thrust forward, his sword gleaming with the strength of community as he turned to face the entity of malice. "This is our home. You will not take it from us." With the sword raised high, he struck the nearest shadowy tendril, the blade ringing out like a bell of courage. Every warrior and villager joined in, their collective energy curtailing the sorcerer's power. "We are Olakan," they shouted in unison, unleashing a wave of brilliance from the tapestry, flooding the area with a light that swallowed the darkness whole. The sorcerer faltered, confusion and rage mixing into a potent concoction as the shadows disintegrated into wisps before him. He staggered back, caught off guard by the sheer force of their resolve. "No! This cannot be," he shouted, the panic in his voice unmistakable as the light began to eclipse him. Suddenly, Amara felt a surge of energy coursing through her, a force that transcended her own creativity. It was the power of every villager, every story, every hand that had woven into the tapestry. "Let our light blind his dark magic," she cried, pushing forward through the strength of her belief. With one final surge, Amara and the villagers linked their voices, singing the stories they had shared. The melody rose and fell, fluid, encircling the sorcerer in a radiant embrace, unwinding the threads of darkness. And then, with one final burst of brilliance, the village erupted with light. A triumphant crescendo enveloping Olokun, washing over the sorcerer and dissolving the darkness that had threatened to consume everything. Cries of joy erupted, echoing through the village as the shadows melted away into nothingness. Breathless and wide-eyed, the villagers stood together, united in victory, surrounded by the remnants of their woven tapestry. A testament to their spirit, love, and creativity. Amidst the cheers, Amara turned to Ezekiel, who wore a smile brighter than the resplendent sun. "We did it," she breathed, awestruck. "Yes," he replied, beaming. "We embraced the light, and it shone through us. Together, we are unstoppable." And so, against the darkness, Olokun had emerged stronger than ever before. The tapestry of their connection had prevailed, bringing with it a newfound understanding of their empathy, resilience, and the sacred nature of their shared stories. As the village basked in the warm glow of unity, they knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead, hand in hand, heart to heart. A legacy woven in strength. The dawn arrived slowly over Olokun, a gentle warmth washing across the land as the villagers gathered in the square. The tapestry that had once seemed a mere collection of fabric and thread now stood as a living testament to their resilience, its vibrant colors gleaming in the morning sun. It sparkled with the remnants of magic that had enveloped the village, a piece of art infused with the power of their shared stories and experiences. Amara stood before it, her heart swelling with pride as she looked at the intricate weave. Every thread represented a voice, a story of courage, hope, and unity that had come together to form a singular narrative. It was more than just a tapestry, it was a legacy, a beacon of hope for future generations. Ezekiel stepped beside her, his presence a comforting weight. "This is only the beginning," he said, casting a glance at the tapestry, his eyes glimmering. "We've faced darkness together, and we've emerged stronger. But we need to ensure that this legacy isn't forgotten." "You're right," Amara replied, her fingers tracing the designs. "It's my dream to create more pieces that tell our stories, to teach those who come after us about the power of unity and love." The villagers began to gather, drawn together by the events of the past nights, a collective warmth swirling among them like a gentle breeze. The murmurs of awe and laughter lifted the spirits around them. Families embraced, children played, and elderly men shared stories of days gone by, while women worked together to prepare a feast to celebrate their victory. The day aptly named, the Festival of Threads, was born from their resilience. It would commemorate their unity and the magic that had sprung from their stories. Villagers shared offerings of fruits, grains, and crafts, reminding everyone of the contributions that had enriched their shared lives. As the sun climbed higher, casting bright light on everything, the chief of the village, an elderly man named Obesai, took the floor, commanding attention with a steady voice. "Our journey has forged a bond among us that will last through generations. Let's honor the legacy established through Amara's vision and the strength we discovered within ourselves. Every thread in the tapestry represents a story worth telling. Today, we shall weave a new story for our future." Cheers erupted among the villagers, echoing through the square. Amara felt her heart quicken at the realization of what this gathering meant, realizing the impact an individual could have on the collective. She had merely dreamt of creating something that could inspire people, but this tapestry had woven itself into the very fabric of their community's identity. As the festival progressed, Amara stepped away to gather her thoughts. She found a quiet corner near the edge of the square where the contrasting beauty of colors danced in the gentle breeze. Closing her eyes, she replayed the events that had transpired, the lessons learned and the friendships forged. Her reverie was interrupted by the soft voice of her grandmother, Zara. "You have given them a great gift, Amara," she said, standing beside her, radiating joy. "Your dream is now intertwined with theirs, a part of something beautiful." "Thank you, Grandma," Amara replied, her voice shaky yet filled with hope. "I never imagined it would mean so much. But I worry, what if we face darkness again?" Zara smiled serenely. "You must remember, my dear, the light within you, within all of us, is far stronger. It is the stories we weave together that hold the power to conquer fear. Continue to share your voice and stories. Don't be afraid to let others guide you in return. Together, you will make things brighter." Inspired by her grandmother's words, Amara turned to the bustling square, catching sight of the villagers gathering in groups, working together to weave additional tapestries that would carry their newfound lessons. Even the children joined in, their laughter adding an element of sweetness to the warmth that enveloped Olokun. The festival culminated with the unveiling of the new tapestries at dusk, each bearing unique stories that echoed the triumph over darkness. Families would share those stories under the glow of the stars, ensuring that every voice found its way into the fabric of Olokun's legacy. The evening drew near, and the sky morphed into a canvas streaked with purple and gold. As night fell, the villagers gathered around the bonfire, the vibrant glow reflecting in their eyes. Amara stood at the forefront, her heart beating in rhythm with hers, charged with the energy of shared hope. "Hear me now," she called out, raising her hands as the fire crackled. "This festival is a celebration of the threads that bind us, each representing a story worth telling. We stand united through darkness and light, and our legacy will shine brightly long after this day." The villagers erupted in applause, their voices rising along with the flames. Zara squeezed Amara's shoulder. "Your words matter, my dear. You will inspire generations, just as your ancestors inspired you. Never forget that." As Amara gazed out at her community, she knew her legacy extended beyond mere fabric. It was interwoven into the thoughts and hopes of everyone around her. The tapestry of Olokun, alive with color and light, stood testament to the journey they had undertaken. A story of unity, resilience, and empowerment that would echo through eternity. With hearts full, they danced and sang under the blanket of stars overhead, their laughter mingling with the crackling of the fire, creating a symphony of spirit. Amara smiled, a sense of fulfillment flooding her within. This was just the beginning for them all, a legacy woven in strength that would endure for generations to come. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to join us for more amazing stories every day. Here at Daily Anything History, there's always something new to discover. See you in the next video.